How exactly do you turn a simple, everyday text prompt into an absolute cinematic masterpiece? I mean, we've all got these sprawling, ambitious ideas rattling around in our heads, right? But getting them out there, onto a screen so they actually look like a massive, multi-million-dollar Hollywood production, well, that can feel pretty much impossible if you don't have the exact blueprint. Well, welcome to this explainer. Today, we are completely deconstructing the ultimate technical guide for AI filmmaking. We're prying open the cinematic AI production toolkit and breaking down exactly how professional creators are taking basic, raw ideas and transforming them into absolute visual stunners. We're not just going to talk theory here. We're diving into the specific platforms, the exact editing tricks, and the precise sound design you need to make your work literally pop off the screen. So here is our roadmap for today. We are going to look at the cinematic AI toolkit, dive into generative video AI engines, break down high-energy editing techniques, layer in some cinematic audio and SFX, and finally, take a peek at the future of production. Let's jump right in.
Kicking things off with Phase 1, the Cinematic AI Toolkit. We really have to lock down the foundation of our production pipeline before we start randomly mashing buttons.
A true professional workflow naturally breaks down into three distinct creative pillars. Think of it like a giant puzzle. You can't just generate a raw video clip, toss it online, and expect people to care. That is exactly how you get scrolled past in a fraction of a second. Step 1 is generative video. Step 2, editing and post-production. And Step 3 is audio and sound design. Master these three pillars, and your content absolutely comes alive.
Moving on to Phase 2, generative video AI engines. Let's talk about the engines that are actually going to build your visual world from the ground up. Listen, if you want that true cinematic feel, you cannot, and I mean absolutely cannot compromise on resolution. Your baseline mandate has to be Ultra HD 4K cinematic output. We've all seen those blurry, morphed AI videos that look like some weird fever dream, right? Yeah, well, no amount of fancy post-production magic is going to save those. You have to demand 4K right out of the gate so your visuals instantly carry the weight and authority of a high-end production.
So who is actually doing the heavy lifting for us here? Well, think of platforms like Runway, Pika, and Sora as your digital crew members. These tools are your ultimate world builders. They take your high-end prompts and render them into flawless 4K realities. Whether you're dreaming up a sprawling futuristic city that perfectly blends in with nature, or maybe autonomous AI agents mapped out as these intricate glowing nodes, these engines are what make it happen.
But occasionally, you need really specialized visual elements that a general world builder might struggle with. I'm talking about sleek, modern AI dashboards, or maybe incredibly complex holographic interfaces. When you're writing prompts for these, you want to be super specific. Use keywords like hologram and glowing elements. This forces the AI right into that hyper-modern UI aesthetic. And let me tell you, that little trick is going to save you hours and hours of tedious, manual motion graphics work in After Effects. All right. Now that we've got a hard drive packed full of gorgeous 4K raw assets, welcome to the Edit Bay. Let's talk high-energy editing techniques. I need you to just burn these numbers right into your memory, 2 to 4. We're really speeding up our pace here, and this is an absolute non-negotiable rule for high-energy editing. You must execute fast cuts every 2 to 4 seconds. Why? Well, because a modern viewer's attention span is, honestly, incredibly fragile. By shifting the visual perspective every couple of seconds, you physically lock the viewer's eyes onto the screen. It practically forces them to stay glued to the rhythm of your story. Now, you can't just slap a basic, boring crossfade between those rapid cuts. Doing that instantly kills all your momentum. You need high-impact, dynamic transitions. Tools like Premiere Pro or CapCut handle the Luma fade brilliantly. When you combine a solid Luma fade with some aggressive zoom-ins and crisp glitch effects, you perfectly bridge the gap between those 2 to 4 second cuts. It's the secret to maintaining absolute focus and just relentless visual energy. And don't forget the text. In a high-energy production, subtitles aren't just there to be read. They are actual dynamic visual weapons. You want bold, sans-serif fonts, stuff like Montserrat or Bébasnoy, and you want to layer them with glowing outlines and highly contrasting colors like cyan or gold. You punch in on keywords like revolution or seconds to create these massive visual impacts that perfectly sync up with the frantic pace of your cuts. But visuals are only half the experience. You could literally have the best edits in the world, but if your sound falls flat, the whole thing will just feel incredibly hollow. So let's step into the sound booth for Phase 4, cinematic audio and SFX. Your audio score needs a narrative arc of its very own. It needs rising intensity. You don't just start off at a 10 out of 10.
That's exhausting. Instead, you start low, mysterious, heavily pulse-driven. That builds intrigue and pulls the listener right in. Then, as your visual edits start speeding up, the music drops down into this tense moment of silence, before completely exploding into high energy, heavy drums, and these massive, soaring synths.
And that massive musical crescendo we just talked about, the absolute secret sauce for that is hybrid cinematic audio. By combining traditional orchestral elements, sweeping string sections, deep booming brass, with ultra-modern electronic bass drops, you deliver this intense, high-tech emotional punch that standard stock music just can't touch. It is absolutely essential for tying together these futuristic AI worlds you've just generated.
Finally, to act as the glue between your driving music and your frantic visuals, you've got to build a really robust sound effects library. Layer in some digital chimes to accent those holographic dashboards. Drop in deep, heavy whooshes to give physical weight to your luma fades and zoom transitions. And definitely pepper in some digital glitches to perfectly sync up with the visual artifacts on screen. That incredibly precise layering, that is exactly what tricks the human brain into believing this AI-generated world is completely real.
Okay, let's wrap up this explainer by looking at what this entire toolkit actually means for you as a creator in our final section, the future of production.
We have covered the 4K AI generators, the 2 to 4 second rapid edits, and the booming hybrid cinematic sound design. The actual technology required to rival massive Hollywood studios is literally sitting on your hard drive right now. So I want to leave you with this final, somewhat provocative thought. Now that you've got the exact toolkit to build ultra-realistic worlds and pulse-pounding edits, what cinematic story will you bring to life first? The barrier to entry is completely gone. Get out there, start experimenting, and honestly, I cannot wait to see what you create.